What's going on, Soul Tribe? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and are you ready to set some intentions this week? We got a pretty light one this week, thankfully. And this is, I think, some really cool energy that's coming through here. We got the Sun and Mercury that are forming this conjunction, bringing new ideas, and then we're ending with this really nice conversation between the benefics, between Venus and Big Papa. And who doesn't love that? So we're going to get into all that here in a moment. But if you're new here, again, my name is Justin, and one of the things that I do on this channel is talk about the Celestial News Weekly, the chit chat that goes on up in the sky. And I'm going to be covering the week of June. Well, we're about to be in June, May 29th through June 4th, 2025. And let's get into this thing. Because on a Jupiter day, the 29th of May, at about 9:12 p.m., and that's going to be Pacific time, the Sun and Mercury are forming a conjunction. And this is happening at 9 degrees and 1 minute of Gemini. Oh, and that's it. 9 minutes and 1 degree of Gemini. So when you talk about the conjunction energy, this is where the celestial bodies, there's a fusion of energies. They're on the exact same degree point here. So we're talking energies of the sun, which is that soul light, the higher light of the mind, where the inspiration, where you're the brightest version of you really comes into play with the sun. The truest version of you. That thing that fuels the body. And then the themes of Mercury are coming into the play as well. So we're talking about communication. We're talking about practical knowledge and reasoning and understanding, communication, again, things along those lines. So this could be, because the nice thing about this conjunction, this is under the rulership of Mercury, considering that Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. And so this could be where, just on a general level, you could just be noticing some really cool ideas maybe coming up for you. This could be where you're finding the inspirations for, maybe you have like maybe a new book idea that you want to do, or maybe you get maybe inspired for like a new workout routine. Maybe you want to try a new hobby, maybe you're curious about a place that you want to explore. This would be, I think, the time to, one, get curious about what are the things that light you up. What are the things that really fuel you? And again, go explore those. Have fun with that energy as well, because Gemini is light, it's fun. They're ruled by Mercury, like I said. This is where Mercury finds itself at home. And Gemini is the mutable air sign, and they're active or yang in nature. And with all this active energy that they're in, this is a time where, we were in a lot of receptive energy there for a while, but now it's like taking all those downloads and then doing something with them. Go study something, go learn something. But learn something not just for the sake of learning. Learn something that, like, okay, you know what? I've always been drawn to, let's say, boats. Why is that? Then it's like, maybe do a little research on that. Maybe you want to look into booking a trip on a boat. Maybe there's something about that the water is calling you. Maybe you want to get to this place where you want to learn how to maybe sail your own boat. Maybe you want to build boats. Maybe you want to do something like whatever that might look like. But this would be the time, I think, to really kind of push your mind. Allow yourself to challenge yourself a little bit. Get outside of your comfort zone with Gemini. Have something new, something fresh to talk about with people. If you've been in a place where, it's been kind of just like the same old stuff, you don't have anything, like, no new things that you're excited about. Let's just change that, because there's so much out there that this world has to offer, especially while we still have Jupiter and Gemini there for a little bit. There's all this Gemini energy. This would be really, really, I think, really great for that. And, I want to kind of pull up since this is we got two transits that we're going to be talking about. I wanted to pull up just a little quick chart on this one. So like I was saying, this is happening at 9 degrees in 1 minute of Gemini here. And I also wanted to kind of talk about the Sabian symbol on this one, because this I found really fascinating. It's phase 70 of Gemini, which says an airplane performing a nosedive. And the keynote for this is a superior ability to challenge nature and play with danger. And now, like I said, I would say don't put yourself in any sort of danger, but definitely be willing to push what you're capable of doing. I think sometimes too we can feel like maybe we're only called to do one thing, but I mean we're good at a number of things, and those interests and things change over time. I think about the stuff that I was interested in as a kid, and where that some of that stuff has come to fruition. Still stayed into touch. I still love looking at the stars and playing music and things like that. But then there's these all other practices that have been coming into ways too, and how do I want to refine those stuff? And so this would be a time to, and not, I mean, in this instance, if we're doing an airplane trick, yeah, we want to make sure that we're feeling confident and know what we're doing before we do the thing. But don't be afraid of necessarily failure in this. I think that it's something where we want to do something, we want to be perfect at it. In Gemini, this is not the time to be perfect. This is the time, again, to just be curious about it, to learn as much as you can about it, and then you'll refine it as you go. The more that you learn, and that the more that you talk about it, and the more that you display these gifts and things, because you don't know where you need it to be strengthened until you experiment a little bit. So let's say, just for an example, if this is someone who happens to have a Sag rising, this would be happening, this conjunction is happening in your 7th house, which, I mean, one theme could be about living abroad. Maybe you've been curious about different cultures. Maybe you want to move, again, wherever the opposite of where you live is at. Then maybe that could be something that you're exploring. Or maybe you want to look into getting a mentor for a certain type of ability. Maybe this could be, because that Mercury rules your 11th house, or excuse me, that 10th house as well. So maybe you want to be recognized for like a different skill. Maybe you want to get like your sailing license, or maybe you want to, oh goodness, maybe you want to give some sort of craft, or learn some sort of trait, get recognized for a difference, people to see a different side of you. This would be great for that. Or maybe you're just at this place where you're feeling a little lost, not quite sure what you're wanting to do. So this would be a great time to talk with someone. It could be a therapist, it could be a friend, someone who you can maybe get some wisdom from, who can just help bounce some ideas off of you, help you get an objective view of what you're doing. Because in this instance, Saturn's moving into your 5th house, which is self-expression, thinking about what are some new ways that you want to come into life and things like that. So, that could be just one example of, and that's not to say that this is going to be everything that's for every Sag rising. You got to pay attention to your chart, and you want to look to see too if you have any planets or points that are around these degrees, that these energies may be working with you more personally. You just may feel like there's just a lot more going on, especially this is just, again, very mental energy right now. So thinking about some ideas and just like going out there and just being curious, and go see what that can lead you to, what kind of opportunities that can create. And that's pretty much going to be the energy throughout the week. We'll have some lunar aspects that are going on in between. And then we get to the last transit here, which is going to be on a Mercury day, the 4th of June, and happy June. I actually got to get in touch. My mom and my sister have a birthday, like back to back. So I'm going to have to get to both. Oh, I love that. My sister's got this Jupiter-Venus conjunction. That's nice. Or conjunction sextile. But at 7:32, and enough about them. Now, at about 7:32 p.m., on the Mercury day on the 4th, Venus is going to form a sextile with Big Papa. And this is going to happen at 28 degrees and 55 minutes. Venus is in Aries and Jupiter is in Gemini. So sextile energy. It's a harmonious aspect. This is when the planets are 60 degrees apart, and they're complementary energies. It's either fire or air or water or earth. But in this one, this is an active sextile here. So this could be where, okay, you got that inspiration, you got that download, that, I wonder, I've always been curious about this. I wonder why. I want to do this thing. This would be that time that Venus and Aries, go do that thing. Go. Instead, like, this is not Venus and Aries, usually Venus is the one that attracts things to her. But but how I would think about Venus and Aries is going to the things that attract you. You know what I mean? It's reversing that. Like, Venus can't just sit there and wait for the stuff to come her way. She's a go-getter in Aries. And in doing that, Big Papa, Jupiter, is about expansion, broadening our worldview, bringing growth, wisdom, and things like that. Now, in Gemini, this is where Jupiter is in its detriment. And both, honestly, both planets are in their detriment. Venus being in Aries and Jupiter being in Gemini. But this is getting you out of your comfort zone again in a way. But I think in a way that it's going to expand you in a way that you wouldn't expect. Because the sextile, again, they may seem light, but they can open up a lot of doors for you in ways that you didn't expect. And all it took was having that conversation, making that phone call, signing up for that course, booking that trip, and then bam. And then you got a whole new, you get fresh perspectives, like your, and not just your worldview, but it's just like what you're capable of grows too. You've leveled up in a way, and I think that's a really powerful energy, I think, to end on with this week. So take some time, during this period, and maybe write this stuff down, get a blueprint, what again comes up for you while that Sun conjunction is going on, that Sun Mercury conjunction, and then let that marinate and see what you want to do with that as you get into, I'd say even like, let's say, but from like maybe Sunday, maybe even Saturn Day onward, and just see again what comes up for you and how you want that to blow up your world, because I think that could be something really, really cool and just get you kind of motivated again, and not just get you excited, but then also get the people around you excited as well, kind of get those energies fired up. So actually, then when I'm looking at this, we're talking about planets working, personally with your chart, they're both separating, but they're still within in the degree of where my natal Venus placement is at. Venus is forming a trine with my natal Venus, and Jupiter's forming a sextile there. So movement and flow. I might keep a little eye out for that one. Well, actually, that would make sense, because I actually have to go. I have to reach out for some people. So, and who knows what that may. Maybe I might take a trip. But again, those are just some rough examples of how to work with these energies. But this can be just on a base level, just a time just to invite some nice energies into your mix. Do something fresh, something new, something vibrant, something that maybe you wouldn't normally do, but let someone take you out of your comfort zone and see where that leads to. You may find a new liking for a new sort of food, or maybe a new genre of music, or books, or movies, or places. Again, whatever that might look like for you, but. Yeah, that's all I got for you there, though. And if this is something too, if you want to work more personally with these transits, see how they are activating in your chart, or what are some themes to kind of look out for, how to set different intentions for these things, how you're seeing this maybe manifest, or if you just want to get to know your natal chart better, whatever that's looking like for you. Down in the description box, I have a list of the services that I provide, the prices for them, and I'm going to be doing some changes on that there soon. So that's something to pay attention to if you want to lock in these prices where they're at right now. Definitely do that, because they'll be switching that stuff up here, soon. And if you want to see what else is going on, just let me get myself together. Also on this channel, I do these videos talking about different planets and different signs and different houses, and just my thoughts on them. So just some things to just kind of meditate on there, see what maybe come up for you that hopefully help you to view your natal chart and work with that in a different way, in a more constructive way. And then also, if you want to, while I was talking about all those lunar shenanigans in between, if you want to follow the lunar transits and see what's going on in that aspect, there is a link for my other charity, the Chariot and Friends, and I do that. I talk about the lunar astrology and do a tarot, and then end it off with an I-Ching, some advice from the I-Ching. So, yeah, and then I'm doing that one. I'm doing a lot of playing around in both the channels right now. So, but that's all I got for you there. So, until next time, stay mindful out there. Keep raising that vibration through the roof. And I will catch you on the next one. Mercury Day.